But in terms of infrastructure, it's not out of our own making. We're a generation that have to rectify infrastructure that is aging. It's an infrastructure that is coming to an end, and therefore we need to put up the necessary funds to deal with that infrastructure that is aging. And unfortunately, we're in an era where our economy is not performing that well, and therefore you have to have creative methods. And that is why in the speech, we are indicating we've established a Gauteng Infrastructure Financing Agency to go out to financing agencies that are there across the globe who are willing to borrow us money or to partner with us to build that infrastructure. So we've acknowledged that the infrastructure there in the CBDs and many areas is collapsing. And that's the reason why we've taken this decision to establish this financing agency. It has been there for quite some time. We're just giving it an additional boost by migrating it from Treasury to the Department of Infrastructure, so that its mandate is solely to go and look for new infrastructure. We need new airports. I'm glad that in the speech you've indicated that Lanseria is expanding. We need new highways. We need new cities. We're putting up a new mega city in Midrand. So we are aware and we've acknowledged all these challenges. It's not that those that criticize us, they don't read the documents that we're presenting to them. They rely on sound bites. It becomes difficult for them to track the work that we're doing.
Yeah, I want to go back to the issue around infrastructure and specifically zooming in on the City of Joburg. Your office is based in the City of Joburg, and you've seen when you drive around the City of Joburg what has happened. It has collapsed. But then comes the question around, from a provincial level, although we respect the separation around the autonomy of the different spheres of government, the accountability that needs to come in. Last time when I spoke to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Velinkosi Nihlabisa, he did confirm that the City of Joburg is one of the 35 municipalities that have been identified that needs intervention. From your perspective, Premier, do you think that the City of Joburg needs to be placed under administration?
Not necessarily. It's a funding model. You can put an administrator there. If you don't change the funding model, the administrator will have the same problem. Because reality is that majority of people are unemployed. And where do they stay? And majority of those people that are unemployed, do you have to deny them water, electricity, and sewer? You can't. That's been inhuman. So if you don't have a new funding model, we'll struggle. And municipalities will struggle to carry their responsibilities. Yes, support is needed. Yes, guidance is needed. Yes, additional funds are needed. But we also need to be realistic that majority of people that don't have resources, majority of people that are old, the elderly, they reside in these municipalities. And if we don't have a financing model that assists municipalities, municipalities will struggle. I've been in municipalities. My first job was in a municipality. We didn't have this kind of problems in terms of funding. We didn't have this kind of problems in terms of in-migration. We didn't have these challenges instead of infrastructure needs where new informal settlement, new cities, are established. And the municipalities can't really cope with it. But also the number of defaulters. Because of the economy not performing, many people are not paying for their services, and the municipality have to carry the responsibility of ensuring that water is there, electricity is there. So I think to really rush to administrative takeover or any form of takeover, I really believe is premature. We just need to deal with these issues. We're excited, and we've put it in the speech, that the president is meeting us for 2 days. And for those 2 days, we really want to put an intervention program. We believe we need to pick up an area. Say, for example, Alexandra, and national government departments, all of them, must say in their budget of 27, 28, what is it they will do in Alexandra? Provincial government do the same, local government do the same, and we'll see the changes, rather than be all over and not have an approach that will leave an everlasting impact, because some of our communities are collapsing. I mean, you go to Alexandra, for example, if we don't intervene and come with creative ways of intervening, it will be a township that will not grow, and it will be a township that unfortunately we inherited from apartheid in a bad state, and we leave it under democracy in a worse state. And we don't want it to be like that.
But then again, Alexandra had the Alexandra Renewal project. And what has happened?
Well, you know, it's not that simple. I met the Alexandra, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, is one of the few townships that were not affected by your Land Act. There are people that own that land. Literally, I met them, and they felt that the Alexandra Renewal didn't acknowledge that they exist, and they wanted payouts. So you can't renew an area where people believe this is my land, buy it out, buy me out, or let's agree on how you'll reimburse me when we develop it.
So what's the issue?
It went to court. It went to court. There is an interdict that stopped government from developing Alexandra. So we met 2 weeks ago. We've agreed on a process that will meet every month. If we can remove that interdict, the development of Alexandra will come on board.
Okay.
But I don't want also to sugarcoat that were financial mismanagement and delays in the Alexandra renewal. It will be naive out of me to say that part didn't exist. It did exist, but at the center, the core, is landowners who are Africans, who own literally that Alexandra. And it's not owned by government. And they want their own title deeds, they want their investment, and they want to be at the center of development. And government does not have that kind of relationship when it develops an area. But now that we've brought them under one roof, I'm quite convinced that, and that is why we didn't even include it in the speech, because it's still at an infancy stage. When we find an agreement with the landowners of Alexandra, you will see a better Alexandra rising. Okay.
G5, which is crime and lawlessness, are we winning the battle against crime? And I'm also asking this on the basis of what the Minister of Police said last week, that as it stands currently, one of his major problems, he said, where we do require intervention, and these are the Minister's words, is in relation to the murder rate in the province. The province contributes around 25% to the country's murder rate.
That is why we've changed the music. You can't do the same thing and expect that you'll win the fight against crime. We've profiled criminals that are causing problems. More than 400 of them. We've put surveillance against them. Last night, they tried to hijack a cash van. What happened? It's an indication that our intervention is starting to work. Because if we don't do that and expect crime to go down, it's not going to happen.
Is devolution the answer, though?
You can't wait for people to commit crime for you to chase them and want to lock them. Preempt them first and put systems. And I'm glad the private sector has come on board. They liked the idea. They've invested on a surveillance program that interact with various satellite work across the province. And we remain hopeful that it will assist us. I mean, there's a gentleman that was about to leave the country after he has been identified as an alleged kingpin to a murder of a top business person here in Sentin. Through that system and many other systems of law enforcement agencies, was arrested at OR Tambo. So we just have to go for the kingpins. These are masterminds that kidnap people, hijack people, take cars, take cell phones, instruct people to have ATM bombings, are behind zamazamas and all these things. So we really believe the new approach, of which we launched in January. We've already nabbed 50 of them. We've given ourselves an extra 6 months to see if it works, and then we'll go to the drawing board on how to resource it as government.
Is Gauteng exploring the idea of devolution as well?
Of powers to municipalities? Yeah. We'll agree to that, yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll agree to that.
You agree to that?
We'll agree. Municipalities play a crucial role. There's no way that you can have municipalities that don't have the financial muscle, the skills. And I'm glad that the National Minister of Public Service and Administration, there is a bill that is about to go to Parliament. That speaks exactly about that. So that we can have transfer of skills from either local or national government to local government and vice versa. And we can have local government being given an extra mandate on how to deal with issues.
From a close governance perspective, the reconfiguration, what happened at a party political level, the impact that could have on governance at a provincial level, this is now speaking about the executive. Did you have a meeting with members who are part of the coalition to explain what impact this could have on the government of the day, if anything at all?
No, there's nothing. There was no need for us to do that. But we work together with our partners of provincial government, and that is why, even after we've delivered the State of the Province address yesterday, they owned up to the speech, because we worked together, we consulted, they gave input, and the final product was presented to them. The reconfiguration is a party thing, and I'm aware that our SG is going to address a press conference to make some announcement, and hopefully he would clarify some of the issues that were raised. But the National Executive Committee of the ANC was very clear that government must not be touched and governments must not be affected by the reconfiguration process. And to date, the African National Congress have kept its weight on that aspect.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Panyaza Lesufi is the Premier of Gauteng on his State of the Province address.